Yo, Nakama here, and we're back with RWBY. As promised, after how long was it? When did I even make that promise? I said I would react to my RWBY comment section as well as some other criticisms of my videos. I actually didn't log in, but generally the dislike of this video is huge. The last I checked, there was 40 or so dislikes. Maybe it has increased. I really don't know the number. Maybe I'll actually show it to you guys. It's kind of shitty that YouTube doesn't allow you to allow people to see the dislikes, because I genuinely want to show the dislikes, but because it's the truth. So no bias. I'm just going to start from the newest. It's also my method to defend RWBY again, since RWBY is still kind of hated unreasonably, in my opinion. And regardless of what is happening currently at Rooster Teeth and how Volume 9 is being delayed, and I still think whatever that happened behind the scenes is not a reason to hate the show. In fact, I think these people and the people who are working on the show should be appreciated more, because they're working with very little pay on this show, so it's almost like a huge passion project. Just work with their passion because they love their job and still doesn't get paid shit. They hope that they will get in the future something in the future, and they just don't. I really don't think that's one of the reasons to hate the show, because most of the people who get to have a say in the writing, in my opinion, are really great people. When it especially comes to the writing, person's personality and their way of weaving life is really important. Because yes, you could be the most toxic, asshole-ish animator in the world, but you can still animate great animation. If you're like a gameplay developer who is also an asshole, it doesn't matter whether you're an asshole or not, you're still going to create good gameplay. But I think story in general is a lot different than that, because what you write and what insight do you have regards to life and how in certain circumstances kind of shows your own personality a lot. Even then, there are still a lot of people who practice double standards. They could just write a story about love and acceptance and just turn it around, be giant douchebags. So yeah, overall, my opinion didn't do a 180. I still love RWBY. Everything is what it is, okay? Yes, does RWBY explain everything it does? No, it doesn't. But is it practical? People just want to complain about stuff, but they really don't understand, try to think about whether their complaints are actually able to be fulfilled in reality. RWBY is a very bingeable show, in my opinion. Also, Miles, Carrie, and Monty said that they try to make the show watchable as humanly possible. They're creating a show they will watch themselves. Whatever that's at the end product is what Carrie and Miles would consider a good show. And it shows, it really shows. I think I made this comparison before, but compared to something like a show called Hunter x Hunter, RWBY is different in that it doesn't explain everything. But here's the thing, Hunter x Hunter even itself does explain every single power. But even something like JoJo is much more simplistic compared to RWBY. So RWBY has dust, semblances, fighting styles. It's a very complicated show. Going back to the first fight scene, there's this girl who's using gun recoil, and also she sometimes turns into a red flower thingy and just floats on the area. So even trying to explain this stuff is just going to take a lot of time if you're going to start expositing. And that's just one character. And if you go through all four characters, Weiss has all these cylinder ice fire weapons, and she can also slide on the floor. Blake can create shadow clones. Almost every single RWBY character has this insane ability that, yes, we can go in depth if we really want to, but it's just going to come off as a waste of time. Instead of, hey, why don't we just enjoy the show? You don't have to understand everything. What you get to see, is cool enough. Even if you do want to understand something, it's not humanly possible to cram in as much information as possible. I think this is just this huge double standard that's going on with the community. I really don't know what's the cause of this. The way I see it, people are essentially sheep. I'm not trying to downplay people, but people are like that. I myself am like that. Another show that's very hated is Sword Art Online, and I think there was an apparent wave of hatred towards Sword Art Online. Even if people don't want to realize that, oh, people are just having fun. The internet is, such a free place. Yeah, the internet might be free, but people's minds are not free. There's always this constant war of opinions going on the internet, and depending on who is winning the war, public perception changes a lot. And I think Sword Art Online fans, people who like the show, kind of lost that war. And people who hate it and people who like mock it and people who are disappointed with it is winning, and just overall made the show a lot more, the fan base a lot more pessimistic and toxic, and people just don't like this show. And it's really hypocritical in my eye, because there's a lot of shows that, in my opinion, worse than Sword Art Online, but just kind of gets the pat on the back. And one of the biggest issues is that there are a lot of people who like think like a sheep. If the majority says one thing, then the majority has to be right. If so many people say something, then it has to be right. People just really don't want to listen to those their heart. Even the people who think they hate the show actually do love it. They just don't like the fact that as a show is very unconventional in its story structure. It doesn't follow what the so-called critiques and elites think is a good show. It doesn't explain a whole lot of stuff. It has a lot of internet humor to it, and its messages are controversial. And I also think Sword Art Online is hated because of it. So in regards to Show Don't Tell, no, it's a moment of the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I see it and think it's beautiful. He sees it and he thinks it's ugly. When you wake up and look at the sky, there are people who think, oh, the sky is beautiful. But there are also a lot of people who think the sky is ugly today. The weather is ugly today. I don't know why each member decided that, oh, I'm going to complain about everything about this show for some reason. Are you like complaining about how reality is? Because to me, the more you like think about and the more you try to understand these people, the more you realize that these people are just trying to complain because they can. And even if those people like think that something is good, they only think it's good because they were sort of conditioned to think that. Like everyone is conditioned to think that the Dark Knight is good. And Dark Knight and RWBY are very similar. A lot of cool but dumb shit happens in the Dark Knight. Joker says a lot of goofy, funny shit in Dark Knight, but it's really cool when the Dark Knight does it. Not very cool when RWBY does it. And again, it's all this like this conditioning, this internet dogma that's like plaguing everyone. Like nobody's listening to their own heart, their own emotions, and their own feelings, and what they truly think and what they truly feel inside. People just want to be a part of the group. If someone like H Bomber who has a great following says something, who has great editing skills, who like scripted everything, who is really good at expressing themselves. So yeah, in a sense, I did agree with the claim. But his claim is that he's whining and saying that the show is bad. He and I watched the same show, but I personally find it enjoyable because, I don't know, maybe I enjoy everything. It's not just that I just enjoy just RWBY, I just enjoy everything in general. I enjoy watching movies, I enjoy living, I enjoy seeing cute girls, beating the shit with cool weapons. This isn't just an issue of whether RWBY is good or not. This is an issue of opinions are not objective. Stop trying to make your opinions be objective. We weave the world with our own minds, with our own opinions, whether we enjoy something or not, entirely dependent on our own mindset, what we believe and what we don't believe. H Bomber is mad not because he thinks that RWBY is a bad show. He's just kind of pissed off that the way after watching the 2-hour video, the way I try to understand H Bomber is that, okay, he kind of had respect for Monty, but he kind of is like resentful towards Carrie and Miles for taking over, or I suppose. He's also like kind of read Shane's letter and also kind of pissed about that. But he's also kind of like almost like hypocritical in the sense that he admits that Volume 3 is arguably the better volume. And it's really ironic considering the fact that Monty died after Volume 2, but he also admits that Volume 3, its story in specific was really good. And that story is is mostly written by Carrie and Miles. Monty had gave some ideas, but he didn't touch the script at all. If anything, Monty probably had a different certain scenes planned. He just didn't make it. So Miles and Carrie ended up writing for Volume 3. And in his opinion, it's the better volume. So, in my personal opinion, yeah, I think Volume 3 is generally better than Volume 2. But Volume 2 arguably has better fights. Entirely because of Monty, because I think the food fight, Yang vs. Neo, Pierre vs. Cardin's group, really aged well. And also some of the themes in Volume 2 are really great too. Miles and Carrie didn't just drop in at Volume 3. Volume 2 was still written by Miles Carey, while Monty also gave certain ideas. So overall, Volume 2 also had some very good themes as well. Would Volume 3 even be better if Monty was alive? Absolutely, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. If anything, there are actually a few mid fights, and I think if Monty was alive, some of the certain mid fights would have been turned into amazing fights, and Volume 3 will even be better. Again, it's a way of how we interpret this. For example, resemblance for example, I had to go to the wiki to fully understand it. That's not a bad thing in my eyes, because watching a lot of cool fights and interpreting and understanding the superpowers through those fights, and I think that's a much more organic way to understand something. Nobody explains or exposes about how Neo is good or why Yang is a good fighter. Nobody does that. Like, nobody does it in a DBZ way, kind of exposit that. Like, I mean, the characters can do that. Characters in RWBY don't usually do that because it's kind of like unrealistic for them to like constantly compare power level, because they're also kind of relative in power level, and B, it's kind of rude, right? Like, if you existed in the RWBY world and you did hunter work, it's kind of like rude to just compare. Oh, my power level is bigger than yours. Even if you're doing a certain job like animating, or you're doing police work or detective work. Oh, I'm the better detective. I do my job better than you do. So that's kind of rude. That's probably why I also think that it's a bit of a headcanon, but that's probably why none of the characters really talk about their powers and their power levels. Maybe they talk off screen, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's rude. Oh, I'm stronger than you. Oh, I can beat that Grim a little faster than you did. It's kind of like egoistic talk. So that's probably why the characters don't talk about it. And if the characters don't talk about it, then usually it won't be on the script. If and of course, even if the characters talked about certain stuff off screen, generally there isn't enough time. Even if you consider like Volume 1 to Volume 8, it seems like a huge story, but compared to something like Naruto or One Piece, RWBY is really short. It's probably longer than the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but it's even shorter than like something like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it's arguably shorter than Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the story has progressed a lot. You know, we had the Beacon arc, the Haven arc, and the Atlas arc. Like, we're almost across the halfway point, I think. Thanks to like not explaining all these semblance, and thanks to like not expositing all this bullshit, you're actually able to have progressed the story while also having this so many fun, goofy, and lovable characters, right? Because it's kind of like if you watch the show and try to realize what Miles Carey and Monty have left out. Because one thing that's notable to me is that, in my opinion, I think the Volume 1, 2, and 3, 3 and 4, like overall, the mentality and like the feel of the show actually never changed to me. Like, obviously, the subject matter is changing a lot. Volume 1, 2 was a lot focused on teen drama and students being kids being kids, and teenagers being teenagers and stuff. Whereas Volume 7 and 8 is focused on politics and drama, but the overall feel didn't message and the heart didn't really change, in my opinion. If anything, I think people are mistaking saying that, oh, the show got so bad after Monty died. Those people who are saying that also say that their favorite volume is also volume 3, which is really funny because Monty had no hand in that. It just goes to show that the head of the show, the writing in specific, was always consistent because the people who were writing it, who were Miles and Carrie, didn't change. And even if they changed, they got older throughout the production of the show, therefore started having more experiences. And while new faces have come, for example, Eddie and Kirsu, who are the new writers for Volume 6 and 7 and 8, those people have been added to the roster of RWBY, but those people added onto the show. They never like fought against Carrie and Miles. I recently read the Volume 7 documentary on the wiki, and yeah, it's kind of shows that their chemistry is really great, and they just, instead of like be egoistic and fight with one another, because sometimes fights do happen and certain like stories get hiatus because the writers couldn't agree on an ending. I think RWBY was really lucky in that the writers didn't butt head and were super good in teamwork. They were like the real team RWBY. Like reading those directed commentary was like reading the real life Team RWBY documentary, which was really awesome. And they were like them talking about their working schedule. Like for example, Miles writes a whole script, then it gives to Carrie. Carrie just like does something and gives it to Eddie, and Eddie like changes out adds a bunch of stuff. So they just add and a bunch of and now they just like have to like start cutting out. Oh, this is not important. This is not worth showing. And yeah, this is the biggest issue. That's probably why something like Ren's semblance ended up a little bit confusing to me. But I love that because I love a little bit of a mystery challenge. I am a huge mystery fan, so I really love it when a show doesn't take me for an idiot and like shows me some stuff, but it seems I will get it. I'm kind of the dumbass for not realizing. And that's also like my own mentality. When I, for example, didn't realize Ren's show, I didn't say go for like Miles and Carrie are fucking idiots. They didn't exposit this thing very well. They didn't explain it. Therefore, I didn't understand. Therefore, the show is bad. No, I didn't say that. If anything, I realized that okay, I wasn't paying much attention, and I kind of am not the smartest guy in the block, so I didn't realize what Ren's semblance was exactly doing because it was very obvious. It's just that when Ren touched, things went gray. So I thought, I think Ren's semblance is making the characters invisible, but it's invisible only to the Graham. So in that sense, I was very close to the question, but I just, for some reason, didn't realize, oh, it's just literally masking the emotions. Like, even if you don't like understand something fully, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't get in the way of me enjoying the story. It doesn't get in the way of me enjoying the scenery, the visuals. Again, why do you believe that good and bad are entirely beliefs? Nothing is good and nothing is bad. The reason I'm trying to protect RWBY and saying that it's a good show is because I'm kind of in love with the show. But even then, like, it's so unfair. Like some of your arguments, some of the way you guys act. You guys start off very, egoistic, start off very pretty, like elitist, like, oh, this show is so bad because it doesn't follow the rules of this writing. You guys start off like that. Then you guys turn into mob mentalities, and then you slowly spiral out of control, trying to then attack the people who made the show because, your hatred kind of is, building up. And when a lot of people are consumed by this mob mentality. Oh, there are dozens of people who hate this show. There are dozens of people who hate RWBY. And if so many people hate RWBY, then RWBY has to be a bad show. That's what you guys start doing. You guys have like such like egos and such hatred how the show is disappointing you, how the show does like betray your own vision, whereas I didn't think about that. I just accepted reality as it is, and I accepted that yes, whatever I was watching, for example, Volume 6 or any volume of RWBY is amazing to me is because it's better than my dreams. It's better than what I was hoping for. Like whenever like someone there's a I don't know Reddit post says something like, what kind of show do you want to watch? My opinion on that is that I don't know what I want. I want something that's bigger than what I can want. And I think RWBY to me was a show like that. I learned from the show. I didn't even know that if you put a gun to a scythe, and if you use the recoil, you can make the scythe into a much more practical weapon. That's absolutely an amazing idea. And I never could have even dreamed about that idea. And everything that happened, such as the political aspect and all the soundtracks, I didn't even know that something like a beautiful soundtrack such as Red Like Roses 2 or Bad Luck Charm was even possible to exist until I, experienced it. So in a way, I love this show because it was better than my dreams. It was better than my hopes and my ideas and my mind. It was bigger than my mind could ever hope to dream of. It was bigger than my dreams. So, and you guys are kind of mad at this show just for being different than your ideas, different than your dreams, different than your dogmas. Not only religious people have dogmas, you people have dogmas. This is pure dogma. I love the show. I enjoy watching this. And I don't have any reason to explain it. It's so hard to put it in words because whatever I try to express with words is going to be futile because my love and my enjoyment and my experience of watching this show cannot be just summed into a few sentences. So either I'm going to talk, contradicting, maybe contradicting myself, maybe rambling, or maybe I'll just stay silent because that's the only two ways I can express myself. I can't just create a dogma saying, oh, this is the truth. This is the exact reason why I love this show. It's impossible to say that because words are very shallow. Even your words to me are really very shallow because none of all this problem. Stop trying to create a problem out of the world. When you look at the sky, you don't wonder why sky is blue. And sure, a lot of scientists are really bothered by the fact that they don't know why the sky is blue. So they try to study and try to explain why the sky is blue. But even then, the explanations are futile because, for example, the ozone layer when reflected with the sun's ray, it becomes blue. All right, then why does the ozone layer exist? Why does it have to be? The world have to exist in the way they have to be. That's another question that scientists don't understand. You guys are also trying to express your own hatred, and in a way, I honestly don't think you're doing yourselves a lot of justice with these huge essays because none of this truly explains why you hate the show. Why, you have a problem with the show. If anything, I think your desire to create problem is actually at fault here. Maybe you had certain ideas. Maybe you just I don't know why you did that. Maybe you just conditioned to think that. Maybe like I said, a lot of people kind of a lot frustrated with whatever was happening at Rooster Teeth, Monty's staff, and also the people who took over. And also whatever that's happening behind the scenes. Shane's lair definitely didn't help. And people are just kind of taking their frustrations on the show for that. And the other thing is that, well, I don't know. I think it also has to do with 3D versus 2D, Japanese animation versus American animation. There may be some reason, or maybe you just have such a fondness and obsession with the show that your love turns into hatred. That's kind of possible. When you love something too much, it becomes hatred. Maybe you just had so much idea, you had this certain ideas, and when the show didn't follow your ideas, you just got super mad and frustrated. Maybe that's the thing. Or maybe you just have this insane desires. Yes, I do understand that RWBY is the kind of a show that it does a lot of cool shit, but it doesn't focus on those cool shit again, because they need to focus on other cool shit. But that's good. For example, Team RWBY themselves, RWBY herself doesn't get that insane screen time. She does get certain amount, but even in Volume 1 and in Volume 2, the screen time gets shared between so many different characters. So if you want to see a lot of RWBY and you just only wanted to see that, then you're kind of fucked because the show will kind of focuses on so many different aspects and so many cool stuff. I myself don't have any biases. I don't try to tunnel myself into certain experiences. Yes, I only enjoy the fights and I don't enjoy the story. I don't say that. I also don't say, oh, only the characters and the funny comedy matters. Whenever a series or drama happens, I'm kind of mad. No, I don't say that. I have wings. I'm not trying to destroy my own wings by complaining all that stuff and trying to create this dogma in my mind saying, oh, I will only enjoy this show. I will only enjoy the fights of the show. If this show is doing anything besides fight, it's bad. If this show is focused on any other characters besides Team RWBY, it is bad. If it's not focusing on the themes, the messages, and focusing on other goofy shit, then it's bad. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to ruin my own, actively trying to ruin my own enjoyment. I enjoy life as it is. When life gives you a lemon, you make a lemonade. If you don't get a lemon, you just don't make the lemonade. It's really that simple. I really don't like JoJo's Exposition. There's certain things I really like, but I think it's sort of like a hit and miss. Basically, JoJo's is adapted from a manga, and the manga is a lot better with Exposition, mainly because you can read through it. There isn't any moment similar in RWBY that is similar to JoJo where there are certain parts in JoJo where certain characters screams out, "Oh, the enemy stand is this," and they're using this to attack us with the invisibility. He's using this to trick us. Watch out, Josuke! There doesn't exist a single exposition like that during the fight. Even if an exposition exists like that, it's usually after. It's usually far away from the conflict and where the characters realistically can't talk. I mean, yeah, there is some issues with, for example, Blake versus Adam. Yang versus Adam specifically, where Blake talks to Yang. But it's literally I literally showed you how many seconds it was. I think it was actually 3 seconds. 3 seconds of time where Yang dropped her guard. She was looking at Adam when Blake was expositing, so that's not actual guard down. So there was only 3 seconds of time where Adam could have attacked. And I'm not going to say that fight was bad because Adam didn't took the chance and attacked Yang in that 3-second chance. I'm not going to say some stupid elitist shit like that. Even my complaint of JoJo is bullshit because I'm only saying that I'm kind of throwing JoJo into under the bus just to defend RWBY. When in reality, I also find certain exposition scenes in JoJo to be really entertaining. It's so dumb and very unrealistic, but it's really funny. Especially it's really fun when voice actor is good. When Dio goes, "Aha, you have fallen into my trap, Jotaro," while that dude is being hit by Jotaro and he's literally flying in the air. And while he's flying in the air, he's literally, "Aha, Jotaro, you have fallen into my trap. Don't you realize? Doesn't this dream look a little bit familiar to you?" And yeah, that's completely unrealistic and completely ridiculous. But it's so funny, and Dio's voice actor is so fun that every time he just says something really dramatically and really fast, it's so entertaining to hear. So in that sense, JoJo is also very enjoyable to me in that aspect. I'm only saying that to defend RWBY because I also really liked RWBY's fight scenes. Something like almost every fight. There are only quite a few fights that exposit a lot, but even those fights, for example, Cardone's fight against Team RWBY and Team Orange is very talky, but it has a reason to be talky because it's almost structured in a similar way to a puzzle. Cardone's make it so big, and you have to find a weakness to it, and instead of the characters just jumping and fighting solo on it, they need to talk one another, strategize, and create a team attack in order to beat. So in order for a team attack to happen and for the characters to exchange ideas, they have to talk to one another. So in that sense, Cardone's mech fight it almost felt like a chess game more than a regular RWBY fight. So in that sense, it's very enjoyable and very unique. Doesn't mean that it's better or worse than the other fight. It's just different and it's enjoyable in a different way. Why can't you people like enjoy different stuff? Why do we have to like put something under the bus just to say this is better? No, it's not. Yes, it leaves the viewers confused, but confusion is good. I am like a huge fan of like murder mysteries. Recently played AI The Summoning Files Nirvana Initiative. You guys should definitely play Nirvana Initiative. It is such a good game, and generally it's a mystery game that confuses you a lot. I think Nirvana Initiative really confuses you a lot until a certain twist is really revealed, and I really enjoy that. Similarly, I really love being confused by RWBY, because there isn't certain explanations. They are either going to explain afterwards in different volumes of how certain powers work, or it's explained in the wiki. Sometimes it's even in the director's documentary. So it's kind of cool because it is possible to understand everything that's happening just from seeing it. You don't need to like understand things through words. And I love being confused by RWBY and sometimes guessing and understanding how certain things work. For example, I really like Adam Short in that sense. It doesn't try to say some goofy shit like Adam is a good character or Adam is bad or how Adam is wrong. It doesn't say the author doesn't come in here and say some stupid goofy shit like that. Instead, it just shows Adam's life. How you interpret his change is up to you. I have my own interpretations. And of course, whether you consider Adam to be a good person or a victim of sorts, or whether you sympathize with him or not, or you just realize the Adam Short and go, oh, Adam is an asshole all along. Like whether you're on that is whatever. But what I really like about RWBY is the show don't tell aspect. Now, just because I really like show don't tell aspect doesn't mean I hate tell don't show aspect of JoJo's. No, I don't hate it. Because unlike other people, I have two wings. I enjoy the day and I enjoy the night. I enjoy exposition, I enjoy non-exposition and showing a lot of stuff. That's cool. In a way, H-Bomber is like a mirror version of me because he's the exact opposite. If you're going to like show a certain fight scene and like or the characters like not explaining like their superpowers, he's going to explain that the shit is too confusing and there isn't any exposition. Then if you give the exposition, he's going to find something to complain about. So in a way, yeah, he and I are totally the opposites. And of course, sometimes when someone like H-Bomber watches something amazing and it kind of like wins over him, sometimes his mind is not functioning, his complaining attitude is not functioning, and sometimes when his complaining attitude is asleep, sometimes he's going to enjoy something and say, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I think that's good. But it's usually not because that whatever they watch is not good or bad. It's usually because H-Bomber's own mentality. H-Bomber hates Miles and Carey. H-Bomber doesn't like Rooster Teeth. H-Bomber also don't like RWBY because it also doesn't follow the conventional ideas of what is considered a good fiction. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons for him to hate it. And also, he's just a very whiny guy. From whatever, even the other videos I saw of him. And he's also constantly like comparing it to other stuff that he enjoys, probably comic books, all that other highly acclaimed stuff. Where something is good or bad is not objective. It's entirely personal, and we all see the world through our minds. Like, nobody sees this show in the same way I do because I'm in love with the show. I'm in love with so many of the characters and so many of the cool soundtracks and the fights. Like, I think I almost like religiously go back to the show and rewatch it sometimes. Like, I recently rewatched I'm currently rewatching Ghost of Rebel's reaction to RWBY, and he really is really good at making these reaction videos. But he's also a little too emotional. Take it as we will. He is gets a little too emotional, but it's way much better than someone being complaining throughout the whole way. It's kind of really like I do hear a lot of people like like to I like to hear, I guess. Hear critics and people who complain sometimes. But I'm also interacting with these kind of people only because I'm compassionate. These people are actively trying to make their own life miserable by complaining. Life isn't bad because it's bad. It seems like it's bad because you're complaining all the time. So in order to break these people's mob mentality and how these people are trying to going further and further into the way of hatred and critique and complaining, and then trying to ruin their own lives as well as other people's own enjoyment. You're actively trying to do that. So, and I'm trying to pull you out saying, hey dudes, it's not worth it. You think you're so smart when you're trying to find, I understand, okay? You're trying to find this trying to solve this giant puzzle of what is good writing. You're constantly watching this Bomber's video, and he's really good at rationalizing himself. I myself, in comparison, seems more emotional to H Bomber. But how else am I supposed to express myself? Do you guys know the dance, right? Look at this dancing. H Bomber said that this dance and stuff is not important because the characters are just relaxing and having fun and not trying to save the world. This is beautiful. But is this how am I supposed to convey the ecstasy of this scene to you with words? You saw this. Some H Bomber probably saw this scene over and over again, and he still considered this to be unnecessary. I think this is very necessary. So when you saw this scene and didn't understand the beauty of it, then how the hell am I supposed to explain to you the beauty of that scene? Yeah, my words, I can't find words. I am a web novelist. Expressing myself through words is what I do. It's my freaking job. But I still don't know how to destroy that hatred inside in your heart. And again, I don't know what will change H Bomber's opinion. Maybe it's probably wrong to change his opinion. Maybe he's going to complain until almost every show he watches he hates. I mean, that is the logical conclusion. Because if you think that you might think that for example, I don't know, The Dark Knight is an amazing show, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is this show. Why don't you just rewatch the show for eternity? Because if you keep rewatching that show, then you're going to realize that you got kind of getting bored of this same shit. B, you're going to see a lot of holes either in the show, in the show's logic, and if you don't see the holes in the show's logic, maybe you're just going to gain more other beliefs, and those new other beliefs are just going to become new excuses to rag on another show. If you're going to on this this critique show, then sooner or later you're just going to criticize life in general, because the Dark Knight and RWBY are very similar. Team RWBY is a hero that's trying to stop crazy people, and Tyrion is very similar to Joker in that he wants destruction and chaos. Salem is similar to Joker in that she wants destruction. Every action story is about good versus evil. The only difference is that Dark Knight is has such a huge fan base. So many people are saying that Dark Knight is good that if you go out there and say, oh, Dark Knight is bad, or Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is bad, you're going to be eaten alive. There are so many people going to come out and say, oh, you're wrong, you're a fucking stupid moron, you should be hanged. Nobody, even H Bomber is someone like H Bomber or no other critic has the ability to go against stuff like that. Even someone like a super nostalgia critic, Digibro from the anime community, something like that, Gigak, the Anime Zone, even those people Gigak, the Anime Zone, and Connor, even one of the more popular you are, the more you're susceptible to other people's opinion, because other people's opinion usually fucking you over, usually affecting you in some certain ways. Of course, I'm not saying not everyone is like that, especially long-term reviewers, I guess, are have learned that, hey, my opinions are much more, being myself is much more important, which is why I really loved watching the Trash Taste guys, because they've been doing this anime review stuff for so long, to the point they just kind of become chill bros. But they also kind of stuff this kind of oh, I'm trying to complain about some stuff. Yeah, obviously if they found certain stuff to be stupid, they're going to complain about it, but they're really like honest about it. I want to express myself honestly, and yeah, there are a lot of people who also like express themselves honestly, but there's also so many people who think they're being honest, but in reality they just have been brainwashed into thinking that stuff. If you like follow like certain ideas of good writing, the very idea of this is good writing and this is bad writing is a dogma. It's brainwashing. It's almost like you're almost acting like a Christian or a Muslim or a certain religious fanatic. Religious fanatics, what they do, they look at the Bible or the Quran and they think that, oh, this is the truth and whatever that goes against this is wrong. And you guys have a very certain similar ideas to that. You're acting very similarly to that. Stop it, guys. Get some help.